Welcome back to Future World's Dragon's Den 2020. My name is Ben Clark, I'm the Director of Future Worlds. We are the Startup Accelerator here at the University of Southampton. We exist to help the fantastically talented, aspiring founders here at the university to change the world with their ideas. And the Future World's Dragon's Den has been running for the last few years, and we've seen more than £500,000 offered to student startups live on stage here in the Den. And so this year, the year that we've had to go online only, there were questions about whether or not the Dragons would be able to make the kind of offers that they've made in the past. Would there be any deals done? Well, in the first episode, we saw a deal offered, but the founders walked away. They decided not to take it. Episode 2, we saw a deal that was done. Avila and Nyasha walked away with £15,000 investment in their startup, Contender, at a £150,000 valuation. What a great deal that was. And so the question marks, the doubts were dispelled. But this evening, we're looking forward to 2 more startups that are going to be pitching. Will the Dragons have any more cash available? Will they have an appetite to make any more offers? Let's remind ourselves who those Dragons are. We've got Andy Doe, a founder of confetti.co.uk, one of the early internet pioneers here in the UK. We've got Chris Broad, formerly a director of Apple, one of the most wildly successful companies in the world. We've got James Vernon, co-founder of Brew, which quickly became one of the largest hedge funds in the world. And we've got Sonia Lamy, a very successful fund manager from London and a frequent angel investor. So those are the Dragons. You may remember we caught up with them in advance. So let's remind ourselves of what they were thinking, what they were looking for as they went into the Den this year.
You've got to be able to sell your idea. You've got to sort of punch above your weight.
That personality that just has a can-do attitude.
The charisma, the drive, the belief.
I mean, it's hard to be an entrepreneur. It's hard to grow a business.
The entrepreneur has to think beyond, I've got this great idea. I've got this great idea and it could be this great business.
Being part of the journey for them from such an early stage means you can really sort of follow them over time.
I've always enjoyed the actual theatre of it on the stage.
And you don't get that proper feedback loop in terms of if people are nodding or smiling, which I think can be quite challenging if it's all virtual.
I'm sure it's going to be great.
So we've heard from the Dragons, we're keen to get into the startups. I just want to explain, you may notice in the first pitch of this evening that we're missing one of our Dragons. Unfortunately, Andy had to leave just for this little section of the live event. So we're missing one Dragon for this pitch, but he comes back in for the second pitch. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the first startup. Welcome to the Future World's Dragon's Den 2020 virtual stage to Sally with her startup, Small Steps.
Hi, I'm Sally and I'm the founder of Small Steps, the subscription box service which helps individuals to find and buy sustainable products. The climate crisis is a huge issue at the moment, affecting people all over the world. And even here in the UK, 1 in 19 deaths in large cities is associated with air pollution. Our consumption of everyday household products contributes up to 60% of greenhouse gas emissions. Consumers know about the climate crisis and they would like to reduce their impact, but that's much easier said than done. It's hard to know which companies to support and which products are truly sustainable and how to source them. My solution is Small Steps. Small Steps curates sustainable alternatives to your everyday products to try in a monthly subscription box. This allows customers to adopt more sustainable habits and also commit to sustainable purchasing in the long term without doing the work that's usually associated with that. With Small Steps, it happens in 3 easy steps. First, our customers head to our website and they choose an area of their life where they'd like to start being more sustainable, for example, personal care. And then they say exactly which products they use most frequently in that area. So we send them a box with 5 mini sustainable alternatives for them to try. And any that they like, they can then order the full-size version on a monthly subscription basis from our website. Curation boxes are currently the most popular kind of subscription box. So we'll attract our customers with the promise of finding their perfect sustainable products. that fit into their own lifestyle. However, replenishment boxes have a much better retention rate of 45% after 1 year of subscription. So we'll transition our customers from the discovery boxes onto the full-size long-term replenishment purchasing. So they'll stay as customers for longer. We currently sell the discovery box for £18 a month plus postage, which leaves us a 41% profit margin. When I first had the idea for Small Steps, I took to the streets and asked consumers what do they think about when buying products. And almost everybody said sustainability without me having to say anything. However, it was always followed by a rant about how they didn't actually do that because they didn't really quite know how and found it inaccessible. So I created the first personal care box, as you can see here. And I sold it to friends and family at a discounted rate in return for their feedback, which was overwhelmingly positive. So I created a social media that you can see here and sort of rolled the product out on here. Here is where I gained a small organic following of customers who have now had their 3rd month of the subscription box, and all of them have requested to receive full-size versions on a monthly basis of products that they've tried. So this is what that part of the website looks like. I believe there's a huge market for Small Steps. The subscription box industry alone is worth $10 billion, and here in the UK last year, we spent over £41 billion on ethical consumption. Of course, there are competitors in this area. There is such thing as a sustainable subscription box, but it exists in a very general lifestyle box form. So you might receive anything from a reusable shopping bag or a cloth nappy or toothpaste to face mask, all in one box. And obviously that's not applicable to everybody. So the USP of Small Steps is the customization that we allow so that people can actually swap out what they use in their everyday life and then replace it with something more sustainable rather than just accumulating lots of sustainable products that you won't actually use. If we take a quick look at the beauty box industry, Birchbox have a monopoly on that market by far, and they have the highest level of personalisation. So my aim is to mirror their success in that industry in my subscription box industry. I'm asking for an investment of £25,000 for 10% so that I can roll Small Steps out on a larger scale. I'd like to put a significant amount of money into the branding and also perfecting a marketing strategy. And I'd also like to bring a team member on board to help with the social media and packaging of the boxes. And as the company grows, then we'll also need to pay for storage and bulk packaging as well. My aim is to change the way that people find and buy sustainable products. I hope you can support this, and thank you for listening. I look forward to questions.
So thank you, Sally. The virtual crowd is going wild. That was another great pitch. And Dragons, now it's time for your questions.
So Sally, thank you very much for your presentation. That was very good, actually. I learned a lot. The question that I have is, how do you fund the inventory that you have? I mean, you're sitting there with a load of these products that you're then going to stick into boxes.
I'm thinking because it's a sort of monthly subscription box, and I know exactly if we've already got a subscriber who's had a month 1, I know what they want to receive month 2, so then I sort of have a month to then get the stock on. So I'm thinking if I can set up relationships with suppliers that I can then order exactly what's been ordered already.
Or you could negotiate terms that you pay, you pay for the products after they've been delivered. So then you go kind of cash positive.
Yeah, I mean, or they pay me to deliver products, potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
How many boxes are you delivering right now?
So at the moment we have a total of 4 customers. So yeah, it's a small sample group.
So you're specialising in sustainable products. So how do you decide what products to put on your inventory? How do you know that they're sustainable? What is it that differentiates them from something that I might find in the local supermarket?
So we have 3 main criteria currently. So it's no zero waste plastic, and it's natural ingredients, so no kind of toxic ingredients, and thoughtful manufacturing. So the thoughtful manufacturing can vary, but generally is they use renewable energy and or they source all of their products within the UK and not sort of from overseas.
Okay, so that does sound a little bit woolly to me. Is there like a certification process somewhere? Is there somebody else who's certifying these products as sustainable?
Yeah, so most of the people that we work with currently are certified as B Corporation. So that's an external sort of organisation that certify that they are sustainable.
Have you looked into carbon emissions at all? Because you mentioned that, for me, sustainability, links into climate change and obviously carbon emissions or greenhouse gas emissions is very important. Is that a factor at all in what you're marketing?
Yeah, that definitely is a factor. I think that is the main factor, but of course there's other things that we consider, such as the toxic ingredients and the plastic waste and all that kind of thing. But yeah, the B Corporation takes into account the sort of carbon emissions and also those things that we look for, like renewable energy and not sort of transporting from overseas and that kind of thing.
Sally, so is that basically the stamp of approval you need is the B Corporation, really, and they do that assessment for you?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I think we do have one or two that don't have it, but just because they're very small companies and they've sort of sent us all of their credentials.
So you send out the samples hoping to get people interested, but then if I understood you correctly, you see the real value in the recurring full-size orders. How do you see retaining clients and not clients risking going to buy the same product from sort of a more common site?
The aim of the site is to be quite holistic, so you would end up sort of getting your whole range of personal care products in this one delivery.
I work in investments and everything now is about ESG, so it's very topical, but I guess for me the challenge is just to understand the big brands are getting so much pressure from various places on being more sustainable, whether it's carbon footprint, the plastic reuse, all the things you've mentioned. So I think you're spot on the concept. But I'm just wondering, I think the main, if they haven't yet, I'm sure they must all be developing it, like Aquafresh or whoever needs to develop more sustainable products because of all the pressure they get from their consumers on being, no plastic waste, etc.
Yeah, it's a fair point. But I don't know. I do think that our customers generally tend to enjoy the kind of, it arrives as soon as you're kind of ready for the next one, if that makes sense. It's not an additional job, so it's a convenience, I guess.
Okay.
Thanks.
So lots of questions for Sally. Now we're really getting to the heart of the issue. What are the dragons thinking?
Well, Sally, I like what you're doing. I'm delighted that there are people like you who are out there doing it, because it makes the world a more richer and interesting place to live in. But for me, it's not something that I want to invest in.
Your website looked really nice, so congratulations, but I'm not going to invest at this point in time. Thank you very much.
Sally, and I'm unfortunately also a pass in this instance, but thank you for your presentation. And as Chris said, I looked at your website, it does look really neat. So I'm sure you can make something from it, but I'm going to pass in.
Well done, Sally. There would be great applause in the cube right now. It was a great pitch. Lots of good questions. Unfortunately for you, it wasn't a deal in the den for you today, but lots of advice and suggestions of how you could still build small steps and take that forward. You're going to go and share your reactions with Grace right now. We're going to move straight on. We'll catch up with you later. We're going to move straight to the next startup pitch, and that is Dimitri with Future Brew. So welcome to the Future World's Dragon's Den 2020 virtual stage to Dimitri with his startup, Future Brew.
Hello, I'm Dimitri, and today I'm going to tell you how Future Brew is revolutionizing the beer industry. According to RAP, in the UK alone, 1.9 million tons of food is wasted every year, and bread alone makes up 900,000 tons of this. This is enough to lift 26 million people out of hunger. A Future Brew will make planet-changing beer by using this surplus bread as one of our main ingredients. Our goal to create a sustainable drinking culture that combines the traditional pub culture of the UK and the ever-increasing environmental concern of university students by making a beer with a purpose, a mission that is both affordable, produced locally, and is low in emission. Our first beer, Stag, was launched in January at the University of Southampton pubs, selling for £2.80 and sold almost 500 pints on our launch night, so a whole stock within a day and a half. And also were interviewed by the BBC. According to our customers, what I find most interesting about beers is the refreshing, high quality, balanced beer that has converted even individuals to claim not even like beer. Big incentive is the fact that with every pint, we save 160 grams of CO2 for being emitted to the atmosphere, which is the equivalent of 1.5 kilometers with your car. As a result, we're a carbon negative business. On the 28th of September, we also launched our first ever packaged beer, Dodo, for nationwide distribution. This is allowed to increase brand awareness while also providing our products to more customers in different cities across the UK. With the beer industry seeing an increase of 1.1% in the last year, our vision is to provide 15 of university pubs and sell over 1 million pints by 2022. Funding early in our mission will fast-track this ambitious goal to become a reality. So we ask £20,000 for 5% equity. The investment will be used for the expansion of Future Brew across the UK. We will invest in scaling up the production of our cans, give us access to supermarkets, wholesalers, retailers, and subscription boxes. It will also diversify not only our revenue stream, but also our target audience. It will generate income. We're going to be able to invest on expanding the universities across the South and expanding our team. Further, we'll invest in local delivery systems and advertisement campaigns through university-side sponsorships, discount rates, ads, and Future Brew ambassadors. So far, we had a massive success, selling over 2,000 pints in Southampton, pre-selling 30% of our can production, and have more conversation with wholesale supermarkets that are interested to stock our cans. By monetizing the environmental concern of university students, we estimated £3,000 in sales per month per university, which means £45,000 per month in sales in all 50 universities combined. Although the alcoholic beverage market is one that represents a challenge in terms of market saturation and other low-risk investment, it is also low in returns. But the rise of the craft beer industry and of sustainable product, a new opportunity arises. Future Brew, though, is not just a beer. It's a solution to a global problem. We monetize the environmental concern of individuals and the need of people to act against injustice. And we add an extra incentive to beer drinkers across the country.
Thanks, Dimitri. That was another great pitch, and the crowd again are going wild. Over to you, Dragons, for your questions.
So let me jump in, actually. Can I just say it tastes great? I really like the beer. It's the kind of beer I like. It has got a lot of sort of fresh taste, which is really good. So I like the beer. Doesn't it dramatically increase your cost to actually produce these different brands, like a different brand for every university? And have you thought about that? How the economics of that play out?
We actually want to brew every beer locally. So for example, for Southampton, we have one, which is Brewhouse Kitchen, that actually do the beer for us. If we go, let's say, to Reading, it will be a different brewery because we'll keep it as local as possible.
So I was going to ask you if beer brewed at the different breweries will taste the same.
Yes, but also we want to see, we want to play with different tastes and the different areas that might like different type of beers. So we can do different things for that reason.
There's a competitor called Toast, which so far has not come up in the conversation. So I'm wondering how you apparently seem to do the same thing as they do.
So Toast, yes, they also brew from bread. They established in 2016. One of our USP is that we want to go to universities and go to university students that Toast is not currently doing. And the next one is that according to the last report of 2019 of Toast Ale, they aim to become emission zero by 2030, but we're already there.
You say that it's a carbon negative product and it saves 160 grams per can. So where does the saving come from?
First of all, of course, is where we use surplus bread. We actually replace almost a third of the grain bill that otherwise we use. So rather use barley, we use surplus bread. And that bread that we take from supermarkets or bakeries otherwise go to waste. It goes to landfills, and that creates methane. And methane obviously is 25 times worse than CO2. So from that we save by going to the atmosphere. Further, in the hop production, we have zero waste. So all of the leftover mass is going to either animal feedstock or it goes into energy. And all the hops are going to community gardens. Our deliveries, almost 100% is, for our cans, it's 100% neutral. For our kegs, we're getting there. We are actually planting trees to offset any CO2 that we produce during the fermentation, during the whole process.
Hey, thanks for your presentation, Dimitri. Unfortunately, my beer is not here yet because I would have loved, by this time we had a long day, I could definitely have done with a beer. But what I was wondering is, what will the impact be of using third-party distributors?
For big wholesalers, we still have the discussion, so it's quite early on to talk, but obviously for the cans will be much lower. And we actually already working with the breweries to even reduce the cost of the can below the one.
I mean, how do you think about the fact that you're losing on economies of scale by using lots of small breweries or not?
So for the cans, we use a single brewery. When it comes to the production of the kegs, it will be almost the same, actually. And they also stores the beer for us in the brewery, so we save him from that perspective.
So the Dragons have had a chance to really scrutinise Dimitri's proposition and what Future Brew's offering. Now's the chance to find out what the Dragons are thinking.
I'll start. For me, Dimitri, I'm going to pass on this investment. I really wish you luck. I think it's a great idea. I love the idea. I love the concept. I love how you just explain how you get to negative carbon footprint. But for me, I'm going to pass at this stage.
Tell you where I am. I'm sort of interested, but on the fence, and would only do it if someone else, like in my Dragon den here, felt they knew more about the industry and what you were trying to do and could really add value in that respect.
So I'm probably more over the fence than Andy, because sitting on the fence is pretty painful, right?
Yeah.
But I would be prepared to invest. Since you're using, I'm assuming you're using excess capacity in these breweries, and so there's a possibility that you can get that really cheap, because it's like, they've got Monday to Thursday filled up, nothing to do on Friday. Why wouldn't they just, brew for you at a really good deal? But we'd like to offer you the 20k, but at a valuation, let me get this right, of 200k, so that we would get 10% of the company, and in return for that you get a lot of you'll get a lot of assistance from us in terms of how to think about your business, how to brand your business, how to work out something that will be crucial, which is to work out where all the costs are, where you make money. James is being left out here.
All right. Well, that's just as well because I'm out. So I enjoyed your presentation. Delighted you've got some investors, and I wish you the very best of luck, and I look forward to drinking a few of your beers, either if they rock up to Jersey or next time I'm in Southampton. I'll be delighted to pop into the bar and buy one.
There's a deal on the table for you, Dimitri. I'm taking it as a given that Andy's on board with Chris, but what they're offering you is 20,000 for 10%. How does that sound to you?
10%, that sounds a bit high to me, to be honest. I was thinking more something like 7%.
Maybe the practical way through this is to say that we have the will to do a deal, but I think that the details on both sides are to be worked out. So it sounds like there's the makings of a deal. There's £20,000 on the table for you, Dimitri. There's a bit of work that's going to be done between you and Andy and Chris to work out all of the details and agree exactly what the valuation is. But there's 20,000 there. Is that a deal that you want to take?
Yes.
Wow, Dimitri, congratulations. There will be huge applause in the den right now. Really, really good. So after a great pitch and some tough questions, you walk away with a £20,000 investment in your startup. Still a few details to work through with the Dragons, but at least a £200,000 valuation on Future Brew. That's a great result. So you're going to go and share your reaction with Grace right now, and we're going to go and catch up and hear what you had to say.
So Dimitri, you've just been offered £20,000 worth of investment from the Dragons. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm ecstatic, honestly. Yeah, I've been working for this for so long, so actually getting here and actually pitching and getting investment, it's just like, it's amazing. It's something very different. I cannot really compare it to anything else.
Did you think you were going to get an offer today?
I was hoping so. I put quite a lot of work on it, and I'm glad that the investors saw all the work that we have done, and they have actually a really strong project. So yes, and I'm so happy for it.
What would you say to people watching this, maybe other students at the University of Southampton who have got their idea for a startup and they're thinking about if they should do anything with it? Do you have any advice for them?
Absolutely. Go for it, and obviously just talk to as many people as you can about it, and especially go to places like Future Worlds and Student Enterprise, because as soon as you can get that contact with them, the sooner that they'll be like, oh, there's this great opportunity, you should do this, you should do that, and yeah, it will just snowball from there.
You actually never know what you're going to get until you actually ask and talk with people.
Well, that's been another gripping evening this evening with 2 more startups pitching. We've had another deal done in the Future World's Dragon's Den virtual event this evening. So Dimitri walks away with £20,000 in cash to invest in Future Brew to really help him drive forward his Beer for Students campaign, and that's at least a £200,000 valuation. There's still a bit of work to be done to confirm all of the details of that deal, but that is a great outcome for Dimitri. So congratulations again to Dimitri. Sally with Small Steps, it wasn't quite to be this evening. No deal for you, but lots of advice and suggestions and an opportunity still to take small steps forward. Some of the greatest results we've seen from Future World's Dragon's Den have been from startups that haven't got investment at the time, but then they've gone on from there and they've done some great things nonetheless. So Sally, we wish you all the best with that as well. Make sure you join us tomorrow night. That's going to be the last. We've got one more pitch. Let's see whether the Dragons have got the appetite, whether they've got enough money left still to invest in any more startups that are pitching. So we've got one final pitch. That's going to be Iris with Archei. So she's going to be pitching to those Dragons tomorrow evening. Same time, same place. If you just stumbled across us online, then make sure you go to futureworlds.com and you can get all of the details and the joining instructions to make sure you don't miss out on what's going to happen tomorrow evening. Thank you very much.
How am I going to make money out of that investment?
I love the idea, I love the concept.
We are very sceptical about your ability.
I was featured in a music video with Jay-Z and Pharrell Williams.
All of them are waiting for you.
Yeah, it's also a great opportunity for you guys.